Hi everyone, it's Dave Winnard here. For World Habitat Day, I'm going to be having a look at some of the different habitats we get across the Carlin landscape, whether that's woodland, reedbed, meadows. So I'm going to be exploring the habitats, some of the species that's with them, and hopefully inspire you to get out onto your local area and see what's on your doorstep. I've stopped off at one of my favourite habitats, which is the reedbed. And I absolutely love reedbeds because when the wind whistles through them, they sound delightful. But they're also incredibly wonderful for the amount of species that use them. So not only down at the bottom is it really good for invertebrates, there's lots of birds that use them as well. Iconically, the bittern, which is a wonderful heron-like bird that is so well camouflaged in the reedbeds that was on the verge of extinction in the UK, and in recent years has expanded. Now winters in parts of Greater Manchester in these big expansive reedbeds. And other birds as well, like Chetty's warbler, and some visiting birds like reed warbler and sedge warbler make this their home. So our reedbeds are fantastic. We lost so many of them, and over the recent decades we've established lots and lots of these big reedbeds, and they make a fantastic habitat. I've just stopped off at this lovely meadow, and although we're getting into autumn now and the meadow isn't looking as colourful and as vibrant as it would have done in the summer months, it's still really important. There's still lots of flowers out, lots of red clover and some buttercups still out, so there's still quite a few pollinators about, and these meadows are really important for our pollinators, whether that's bees or hoverflies or butterflies. They're really important, and in some cases almost crucial. There's a plant in here called the bird's foot trefoil, which is the larval food plant for the common blue butterfly. So without that plant we can't have that butterfly. And it's not just the insects that are using these meadows. All the seed from the plants as well is great for the birds. And just as we were walking in, there was a flock of goldfinch feeding in the meadow as well. So these wonderful meadows are vibrant in colour in summer, great for wildlife. They are a fantastic habitat. At this time of year, I love being in woodlands, and woodlands come in all sorts of shapes, sizes, whether they're deciduous, where they drop their leaves in autumn, coniferous, where they're evergreen or mixed. You know, lots of different varieties, whether it's oak or elder or pine. And a good healthy woodland has young trees, mature trees, dead standing trees, and rotting wood as well lying on the ground. And this creates a wonderful mosaic of habitat for invertebrates to live in, for birds to use like woodpeckers, and fungi as well, which is lots of on this rotting wood. There's plenty of species of fungi. And leaving dead wood in the woods is important, especially for nationally declining birds like willow tit, which I'm in an area where it's a good population for them for. So every woodland is unique, and they are a wonderful habitat where you can encounter loads and loads of different species. I've stopped along the railway line here at Wigan Flashes, and it might not sound the most interesting of habitats to look at, but actually it is. It's really interesting. And it's because the ballast they use for the railway line is limestone chippings, and that's filtered into the soil right next to where we are now. And because of that, we see different plants that we would not normally expect to see across the whole of Greater Manchester. There's some lovely everlasting pea here that's just finishing flowering, but still hanging on in there. And along this track here, there's plants like pale toad flax, wild mignonette, and viper's bugloss, which again have come in on the kind of the railway chippings, and just started colonising the area. So even areas like this, which you think are really urban and man-made and not going to support much life, can be really interesting. So you should never write off these kind of habitats. I've called off at Scotsman Flash here at the Wigan Flashes to have a look at the open water. And open water is a really important habitat, especially in the coming months for our winter visiting ducks. So this body of water here will hold huge numbers of species like coot, of tufted duck, and also things like cormorants and grebes and mute swan. And it's a great refuge for them, it's a great place for them to come and rest, but with some of them they are feeding. And species like the tufted duck are hunting small fish and invertebrates in the water, so they will dive down into the water to go and feed. And then even occasionally, these large bodies of open water attract rare birds. So occasionally smew or even things like red-throated and great northern divers occasionally turn up, which should be wintering out at our sea. So these open water habitats are a fantastic habitat to come and look for our wintering birds. I've stopped at Little Walden Moss to come and have a look at this lowland peatland, and it's a fantastic habitat. And over the years it's been re-wetted, and that's been crucial to improving the habitat and the wildlife that use it. For centuries our mosslands were drained to exploit the peat for fuel and for compost, and by re-wetting them we allow the wildlife to come back in. And some of the amazing species we've seen, we've seen hunting the dragonflies like the black darters and the emerald damselflies that are using the wet areas now. And there's some wonderful plants that use this kind of habitat, including the sundews, carnivorous plants. So I urge you to come down and have a look at this fabulous habitat.